the Klansmen and their uncertain path? Of course not. But because it's Jews who got hurt or killed, the lack of moral clarity, the whataboutism, the both sidesism is okay. So tonight we deal with a much larger issue, the acceptance and explanation of Jew hatred and violence around America, particularly on America's college campuses, oftentimes not just by immigrants, but by Americans. The protesters wear keffiyehs, to borrow the outfit of Palestinian freedom fighters. I know lots of them. I spent 4 years in the Middle East. Yasser Arafat, former president of the Palestinian Authority, adopted the checkered headdress when he founded the Palestinian Liberation Army way back in the 70s. Since then, there have been thousands of Jews killed in the name of Free Palestine during intifadas wearing keffiyehs. Yet chanting "globalize the intifada" while wearing keffiyehs is perfectly acceptable in America. In fact, multiple graduation speakers at America's top universities wore keffiyehs, like this speaker at MIT or others at Harvard. So let me ask you this. What if men from the South wore Klan hoods or the Confederate flag to Harvard's graduation? How would that go over? College campuses are supposed to be safe spaces for everyone, but now it's except for the Jews. If a student committed a microaggression, they could get expelled. But if a student says "globalize the intifada," they're coddled, they're protected. It's their First Amendment. Let's not forget when Columbia students hung intifada banners on their own school building. That's calling for the killing of people. Yes, there are Palestinians suffering, unquestionably. But they are suffering because of Hamas, Iran, and the Palestinian Authority. Dead stop. They are suffering because of fellow Muslims, not because of Israel or the Jews. We were told over and over that hatred must be stamped out. But when the calls of hate are towards the Jews, that same crowd is awfully silent. Don't believe me? Replace what's happening to Jews in America with any other minority. And tell America, and that includes the legacy media, Democrats in Congress, college presidents, and society, starts treating keffiyehs like Klan hoods. The mainstreaming of hatred against Jews in America will get worse. The murder of Jews will continue. And now Niall has an entire array of notes, an Oxford debate, 3 hours worth of notes to prove me wrong.
Well, I think you are wrong. I mean, that's no surprise.
No, none.
But I think that, look, let's get the obvious thing out of the way first. What happened in Boulder was wrong. What happened here in D.C. was wrong. Attacking anyone for their race or religion is wrong. That obviously includes Palestinian Americans, like those Palestinian students in Vermont who were shot, the 6-year-old boy, Palestinian American, stabbed to death. Those are all wrong. Now, you are using isolated acts of violence to delegitimize the argument against what Israel is doing in Gaza.
No, I'm not. I am saying that when you wear an outfit that has become the uniform of terrorists, that wear that outfit to kill mass numbers of people, and you chant the slogans of those same people who kill mass numbers of Jews, then you are a friend, an ally of the terrorists, and we should treat you as such.
No, that's not right. For a start, it is not true that the keffiyeh is the uniform of terrorists, as you put it. It is a symbol of Palestinian nationhood.
No, it's a symbol of Palestinian resistance.
That nationhood has been crushed or tried to be crushed by military subjugation over decades. The West Bank, occupied land, illegally occupied by Israel for decades.
Let's have this conversation without talking about Israel, because with the difference that you make point when you talk about the Palestinian kids who were, one of whom was murdered, a couple of whom were stabbed. Yes, it's important. There's not thousands of Jews out there chanting and celebrating this. In fact, it was the Jewish communities in America who were the first to condemn it and say how awful it was. It is the pro-Palestinian groups that are out there chanting and celebrating this kind of behavior.
Leland, just today, Lindsey Graham, a Republican senator, was joking about Greta Thunberg drowning because she is on a boat seeking to break the blockade of Gaza. Randy Fine, Republican congressman, referring to Palestinians as demons.
Okay, so just if you want to say this, why is Greta Thunberg on some boat? By the way, I think they should let her into Gaza and let her stay as long as she would like. It would be great. She's gonna love it there, especially how they treat women. Interestingly enough, though, she's not trying to break through the Egyptian land border to Gaza, now is she? And there's a reason for that. Everyone in these groups who's all out there chanting loves to talk about Gaza, the Palestinians in the West Bank. I never hear them complaining about what Iran is doing to Muslims in Yemen or in Syria. I never hear them talk about what Turkey is doing to the Yazidis or what they are doing to the Kurds or what Iraq is doing to the Kurds. And the reason is because it's not about Palestinians. It's about blaming the Jews and calling for the destruction of Israel.
It is not about blaming the Jews to criticize the most right-wing government in the history of the State of Israel, which Ehud Olmert, a former Israeli prime minister, said recently is guilty of war crimes.
Again, how can...
People should protest war crimes.
If you want to go out and protest that, that's fine. If you want to go hold up a sign that says Israel is committing war crimes, we can have that debate. That's not the debate we're having. You're trying to conflate the two. The debate we're having is that if you are going to wear a piece of clothing that was made famous by a man who was a avowed terrorist in Yasser Arafat.
And came to a peace deal during the Clinton administration.
Which he then walked away from after getting 99% of what he wanted, but I digress. The fact of the matter is that if you want to wear keffiyehs, it is no different than wearing Klan hoods.
Absolute nonsense.
That's
just nonsense. Analogy just doesn't work.
We can all agree if someone wears Klan hoods and Confederate flags, it would be wrong.
The government of Israel, underwritten by the government of the United States, is killing the Palestinians by the thousands, starving the Palestinians, openly saying we wish to do that. And people are wearing keffiyehs or shouting Free Palestine because they rightly object to those grotesque actions by the government of Israel.
And they're shouting globalize the Intifada, which, by the way, is calling for an Intifada, which is the violent uprising against Jews. It's that simple.
It is resistance. Now, resistance, it's like shouting power to the people. Does that mean that you think poor people should have greater power, or does it mean you should think you should go and shoot cops?
There's been a lot of people killed in the name of Intifada, but we've had a good conversation, my friend. Always fun.